Hello children, today I am going to explain page number 116. So open this page. Let's see the first para. Without a word, he would leave me, retiring whence he came, or into the other portion of the shop, and I would continue to rest in the wooden chair, inhaling the incense of his trade. Soon he would come back, holding in his hand a piece of gold brown leather. With eyes fixed on it, he would remark, "What a beautiful piece!" When I too had admired it, he would speak again, "When do you want them?" And I would say, "Oh, as soon as you conveniently can." As he would say, "Tomorrow fortnight," or if he were his elder brother, "I will ask my brother." So when narrator went into his shop and asked for a Russian leather pair of boots, so he went into the room where he made the shoes, and come out with the gold brown leather. During this time, narrator inhale means take in, the incense means the smell of his trade, means of the leathers. During this, narrator inhales, intake the smells of the leather. Then he came back with a golden brown leather piece, and he showed him and remarked that it's a very beautiful piece, very beautiful piece. And when the narrator agreed, then he asked when did he want that pair of shoes, and narrator says that as per her convenient. Then after sometime he would say, he remarked that tomorrow fortnight, or he remarked that he will ask his brother, then he will decide. Then I would murmur, "Thank you, good morning, Mr. Jessler, good morning." He would reply, still looking at the leather in his hand, and as I moved to the door, I would hear the tip-tap of his slippers going upstairs to his dream of boots. And when the narrator went back after ordering the shoes, saying good morning to him, then the Jessler brothers also went into the room where he used to make the shoes and where he used to dream about the boots. I cannot forget the day on which I had occasion to say him, "Mr. Jessler, that last pair of boots creaked, you know." Here the narrator again describes one of the meetings with the Jessler. That time he remarked that his boots were creaked. Creaked means that is crack. There were some lines on the shoes. He looked at me for a time without replying, as if expecting me to withdraw or qualify the statement. Then said, "It shouldn't have creaked." When the narrator remarked that the shoes were having creaked, then he looked to the narrator for some time, and the expression is that the shoes wouldn't creaked. He wanted that the narrator withdraw his sentence, his remark. It did, I'm afraid. You got them wet before they found themselves. I don't think so. Then he remarked that they were good before they were there. So he thought that this was not correct, that the shoes were creaked. At that he lowered his eyes, as if hunting for memory of those boots, and I felt sorry I had mentioned this grave thing. "Send them back," he said. "I will look at them." Then he bent down his eyes, and it seems that he was memorizing that boots. And then he asked sorry and asked them to send them back, and he would look what to do with them. Some boots, he continued slowly, are bad from birth. If I can do nothing with them, take them off your bill. Then he further remarked that some leathers are of the bad quality by the birth. If he could not do anything, then he will take out the money from the bill. He will cut off the money from the bill. Once I absent-mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firms. So children, you see, narrator has described many incidents, many meetings with the Jessler brother. Here also one of them is given. Absent-mindedly means without thinking. Once he went into the shop of Jessler's brother without any intention, without any thinking. That time he was wearing the boots that he had purchased from some other shop in an emergency. He took my order without showing me any leather, and I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my foot. Then he took the order without showing any leather to the narrator, and he was also looking down. Penetrating means looking deeply into the shoes of the narrator. At last he said, "Those are not my boots." Then he remarked and asked the narrator that those boots were not of his boots. The tone was not of anger, nor of sorrow, nor even of contempt, but there was in something quite that froze the blood. He put his hand down and pressed a finger on the place where he left boot was not quite comfortable. When he remarked this, his face was expressionless. There was no expression of any sorrow, contempt, or anger, but he was looking depressed. He pressed his finger on the shoes where it was uncomfortable to the narrator. "It hurts, you dare?" Then he asked if it was hurting there. "Those big firms have no self-respect." He says that the big firms, the big shops have no self-respect of their trade. And then, as if something had given way within him, he spoke long and bitterly. It was the only time I have ever heard him discuss the conditions and hardships of his trade, and this is the first time the narrator found him talking about his hardships and conditions of his business. Okay children, this is the explanation of page number 116. Rest we will discuss in the next video. Okay, thank you so much.